Good morning. I'm on early today. Got, excuse me, we're heading to Fargo today to pick up a couple of grandkids and a few other things. But Psalm 43, 44, and 45 we look at today. And Psalm 43 begins with, "Vindicate me, O God, defend my name, pronounce me guiltless, give me my freedom. Vindicate me, defend me against an ungodly people, those who are deceitful, and deliver, and deliver me, Lord." And it says, "You are the God I trust." And I mean, think about what people, what person do you trust? I mean, how many people do you trust 100%? That for sure, And when we really think about it, hopefully there's several. Hopefully there's several that you can count on. But one we can always count on is we can count on God. And this is what King David knew, that he could always count on God. But listen, he says in continuing verse 2, "Why must I walk mournfully because of the oppression of my enemy?" He's David, king of Israel, always has these other kings battling against him. And it's just, as we read, back in 1st or 2nd Kings or wherever it was, in the spring of the year when kings go to battle. It was just kind of a common thing. There was war going on. And sadly, it's still that way today. We haven't learned an awful lot, although maybe it isn't quite so many wars going on. But, there are people that are being oppressed and people that need to have a little bit of grace and peace in their lives. So it's, vindicate me, set me, declare me guiltless, and then shine your light of truth. Let your truth lead me. Let them bring me to your holy hill, and I will go to the altar of God, and I will praise you with the harp. And so it's, when I know that freedom from God. But then again, verse 5, "Why are you so cast down, my soul? Why are you so disquieted? Hope in God." So he's having a little problem figuring things out, evidently. Excuse me. Psalm 44, it starts with, trust me, this is coming. Hope I don't end up with about a dozen of them. Psalm 44 begins with David remembering the stories of how God led his people out of captivity in Israel. "We have heard with our ears, our ancestors have told us the deeds that you performed. And, with your own hands, you drove out the nations." So remembering what he's been told about God leading the people, Israel, out of captivity, through the wilderness for the 40 years, and then to the promised land, driving out the enemies, driving out those who lived there. "With your own hand, you drove out the nations. By them you planted your afflicted people. You have not set them free. By your sword, they did not win the land, but, so God prepared the land for the people. And it's, he's remembering the stories that have been told. It's history. And it's one of the reasons that it's so important for us, too, to know the histories of things that have happened. And that's why we know the story of Jesus. Some mornings get bad with these sneezes and stuff for a while. Anyway, we'll go on. And then verse 4, praise. "You are my king. You are my God. You command the victories." And again, remembering the power of God, the might of God, and how God has led his people in battle. And then, "Yet you have rejected us." Verse 9. He's remembering to God, he's reminding himself and God of all of the times that God has led Israel. And then now, "You have rejected us," and well, why did God reject them? Because they did wrong. They worshiped idols and all of that, and they weren't successful in battle. They were defeated. And And then verse 17, all of this has come upon us, yet we have not forgotten you. You know, we come to you, you know, we have not been false to your covenant. Really? I mean, well, you know, maybe some hadn't, but you don't know. But it's that prayer and a reminder again for God to come to the aid of his people Israel. You know, the last part of starting 24, why did you forget our affliction and oppression? For we sink to the dust, our bodies cling to the ground. Rise up, come to our help. You know, what a prayer. Redeem us for the sake of your steadfast love. So again, you know, he's reminding himself, reminding God of God's pleasure in his people, of God's leading the people, wondering why has all of this evil befallen us? And then rise up, God, come back to our aid. And Psalm 45, it's, you know, there's something, I mean, my heart overflows with a goodly theme. I address my verses. You are the most handsome of men. Grace is poured upon your lips. It sounds like a woman talking about her groom to be. Gird your sword and your majesty, ride on in victory. Your arrows are sharp, you know, and then in verse 8, from ivory palaces, stringed instruments make you glad. Daughters of kings are among your ladies of honor. Hear, O daughter, consider, incline your ear. You know, and so it's a song of praise, a song of thanksgiving. They're addressing the king. So this probably isn't written by David, since they're, you know, talking somewhat about the king, but about God as well. And you know those ivory palaces mentioned in verse 8. You know, we have a song of ivory palaces, but it's a reminder that, you know, God is so much greater than we are, and things that we would think maybe are extravagant here, you know, for God, they're not extravagant. But verse 10 again, hear, O daughter, consider, recline your ear, forget your people and your father's house, and the king will desire your beauty. Since he is your Lord, bow to him. The people of, you know, and then, you know, in the middle of 12, the princess is decked in her chamber with gold-woven robes, and many-colored robes she is led to the king. So, a time of celebration, a time of a bride coming to her groom, to her king, to be married. You know, I will cause your name to be celebrated in all generations, and peoples will praise you forever. And so there, I mean, it's a song of blessing, of you know, sounds like a wedding that's going on that way. And so we find in the Psalms, as well as in all of the Bible, just, you know, that it's everyday life is in there, and everyday fears and thoughts and concerns. So thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow morning should be on time again.